Trump's high-risk move, ignoring GOP warnings on the tax cut bill. Senator Thom Tillis from North Carolina didn't hold back his concerns when he spoke to President Donald Trump. On a particularly intense call late Saturday night, the senator, facing a tough re-election battle in a politically mixed state, cautioned Trump that the proposed cuts to Medicaid in the new bill could lead to Republicans losing their House majority. This would, he warned, haunt Trump, just as President Barack Obama's unfulfilled promise about healthcare had plagued him. Trump, however, pushed forward regardless. "I hope he remembers the warnings and advice I shared last night," Tillis remarked to the media on Sunday. "If this bill passes as it stands, I'll be bringing it up next year when we lose the House majority." Against the backdrop of warnings from more centrist Republicans, Trump and his allies in Congress succeeded in passing a massive $3.4 trillion tax cut and spending bill last Thursday. This legislation also includes hundreds of billions of dollars earmarked for border security, detention centers, and the Pentagon, underscoring Trump's influence over the party. But in his drive to achieve a major legislative victory and to continue the decade-old tax cuts, Trump went against his campaign promise not to alter healthcare, putting the party's congressional majority in jeopardy. To get the bill approved before a self-imposed Friday deadline, Trump pushed Republican lawmakers to dismiss their concerns about the political fallout from removing benefits while adding trillions to the national debt. His usual practice of glossing over policy concerns excluded the reality that people would lose their Medicaid coverage. During a session with House moderates and pragmatic conservatives, Trump claimed Republicans should avoid touching entitlement programs if they wanted to maintain electoral success. Yet, a lawmaker pointed out, the bill indeed affected Medicaid. Senators Susan Collins from Maine and Thom Tillis were among the most at-risk Senate Republicans facing re-election next year, and they voted against the bill. Tillis, in fact, announced he would not seek re-election, and Representative Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, representing a district carried by Kamala Harris in the previous election, also voted no. And other vulnerable House Republicans chose to set aside their doubts and voted in favor of it. Representative Richard Hudson from North Carolina, who chairs the National Republican Congressional Committee, anticipates the Medicaid changes will resonate well with voters and has encouraged Republicans to campaign on their merits. The story of how Trump and Republican leaders navigated a deeply divisive bill is based on insights from more than 24 lawmakers and aides who spoke under anonymity. The White House refrained from providing specific responses about Trump's role, but Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt lauded the president for accomplishing it. Despite the skeptics and panic, President Trump secured repeated victories for the American people. She said, "We won't touch it." That's what Trump assured reporters about Medicaid in February, emphasizing that no cuts would be made to Social Security, Medicaid, or Medicare to finance the tax cuts. "We're not going near it." Trump reiterated that he acknowledged the need to tackle fraud. House Republican leaders focused on introducing work requirements for Medicaid to save federal funds, while claiming that those in genuine need would still have access. They also imposed new restrictions on healthcare provider taxes in states, aiming to secure additional federal Medicaid funding. After the House approved the bill in late May, some senators, including Trump ally Josh Hawley, criticized the depth of the cuts. Even Senators Collins and Tillis voiced their concerns. Yet, rather than easing the cuts, Senate leaders made them stricter to find additional savings for permanent tax cuts for businesses, a priority for Majority Leader John Thune. As voting approached, Thune had to keep senators like Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski on board. Trump's attempt to convince Paul involved a round of golf at his Virginia club, where Paul voiced his concerns about the federal debt. Murkowski had her own stakes, knowing leadership might remove Alaska-specific provisions if she withheld her support. The Senate's overnight voting marathon then tested the limits of congressional procedure, ultimately with Murkowski agreeing to vote yes to avoid losing key Alaska benefits. Republican leaders had to carefully persuade the House, addressing moderates and hardliners alike. Trump's engagement was pivotal, with some Republicans praising his explanations as fundamental in securing their support. Ultimately, Trump is poised to sign the bill, with promises of executive actions purportedly to enhance its impact. What do you think about Trump's gamble on this tax bill? Will the political cost of these Medicaid cuts be worth the long-term gains? Or will they backfire? Share your thoughts below.